6 weeks after my father died, my brother quietly sold his truck without asking me. I thought the worst thing about it was that he had made a decision about something connected to our father without telling me. Then the buyer called me and said something that made my blood run cold. He had found a sealed envelope taped beneath the spare tire. My name was written across the front. Inside were two things: a letter my father had written only 3 days before he died, and a deed that could change everything my brother believed he owned. 6 weeks have passed since my father's funeral, and our family was still trying to return to normal. Nothing felt normal anymore. The house was quieter. Family dinners had become uncomfortable, and every conversation somehow returned to money, property, and the things my father had left behind. My brother had always been the more confident one. He believed he could handle everything himself. After our father died, he started making decisions without discussing them with me. One afternoon, I received a phone call from a man I had never met. He told me that he had recently bought my brother's old truck. I immediately became suspicious because my brother had never mentioned selling it. Then the buyer said something I could not understand. He said that while checking the spare tire, he discovered a sealed envelope taped underneath the compartment. The envelope had my name written on it. I asked him why he was calling me instead of my brother. He said because the letter inside specifically told him to contact me if the envelope was ever discovered. My hands started shaking. The buyer agreed to meet me at a public place and handed me the envelope. It was old and carefully sealed. On the front was my name in my father's handwriting. For several seconds, I could not open it. Then I remembered the last time I saw my father. He looked exhausted but strangely calm. He told me that sometimes the truth had to wait until the right person was ready to hear it. I opened the envelope. The first thing inside was a letter dated only 3 days before his death. My father wrote that he had discovered my brother was planning to make decisions about certain family property without telling me. He explained that he had prepared a legal document because he wanted to protect something that he believed should never become a source of conflict between his children. Then I saw the second document. It was a deed. I could hardly believe what I was reading. The document showed that a piece of property my brother believed belonged entirely to him and had been transferred according to my father's written wishes. My father had made arrangements before his death and had left instructions for the document to be handled properly through the estate. That detail mattered because after someone dies, property and assets can become part of an estate, and the legal process for transferring ownership can involve an executor's personal representative, court documents, and other requirements. Official court guidance explains that probate is the legal process used to transfer or inherit property after someone dies. The truck itself also became part of the mystery. Vehicle ownership after a death is not simply a matter of taking the keys and selling the vehicle. Depending on the state and circumstances, title transfer may require estate documents, an affidavit, or other legal paperwork. Official DMV guidance confirms that inherited vehicles can require specific title transfer procedures. When my brother finally learned what was inside the envelope, he was furious. He accused me of hiding the truth. I told him I had never known about the envelope. Then I placed the letter on the table. Everyone at Thanksgiving became silent as my brother read the first few lines. My father had predicted that this moment might happen. He had written that he did not want his children fighting after he was gone. He wanted the truth to come out only when someone tried to take something that was not rightfully theirs. My brother looked at the deed again. For the first time since our father died, he had nothing to say. And that was when I realized something. The most valuable thing my father had left behind was not the property or the truck. It was the truth. My father had spent his final days preparing for a future he knew he might not live to see. He did not leave me a fortune. He left me proof that he had thought carefully about his family until the very end. The envelope was hidden under a spare tire, but the truth inside it had been waiting for us all along.